is king for Singapore animators. Hong Kong reinforces its position as Asia's premier financial centre, and the art of pitching to investors and clients in a day in the life of an entrepreneur.
Hello and welcome to Money Mind. Singapore's animation industry started with local companies working on support services for major companies. And now some Singapore players are looking to climb up the ladder and be the creators of their own animation content. And as Money Mind's Ellen Lokajaya finds out, the key to their success lies in the eyes of children.
Cartoons might be for kids, but the business of animation is no child's play. Here in Singapore, the animation industry is expected to contribute $100 million in revenue to the interactive digital media sector by 2015, according to a study by Deloitte. Globally, the animation production industry is expected to grow from $198 billion in 2010 to $249 billion by 2012, according to Digital Vector. Currently, there are 40 animation and special effects companies in Singapore, up from the 10 in 2003. The local animation production industry has been in evolution since it first started. In the past, most animation production houses mainly provided support services where they were paid to create the animation as envisioned by US or European companies. But nowadays, they aim to come up with their own content.
In the past, you see Asia just like a sweatshop, just doing servicing work. But countries like in Singapore, in Malaysia, even in Thailand or Korea especially, you see more and more people are slowly realizing that for long-term survival for a company, it's important to do IP, to do their own intellectual property.
Tiny Island Production is just one of the animation companies in Singapore that's creating its own animation property. Another animation production house is Sparky Animation, which is already building up its licensing and merchandising unit. The company believes a successful cartoon show could potentially mean big spin-offs.
I think for a very successful show, you may able to recoup your investment from selling your program. What does it mean? Meaning that you sell the right to broadcaster all over the world, you know, from Middle East, US and others. A relatively successful show may able for you to recoup back your entire investment for the production. Then if the show is, you know, as I said, well-liked by the audience, then there will be a lot of licensee and agent would want to take on this property to make toy, make consumer products. That is the time where you really make a huge profit.
Currently, Sparky is working with TV Tokyo on a Japanese animation production called One Stormy Night and will collaborate further with other partners on potential toys and apparel merchandise. Besides merchandising and licensing possibilities, some animation companies are banking on the 3D trend and growing demand for 3D products. Tiny Island is well into this growing trend. The company creates 3D content, which doesn't require the use of 3D glasses. The company sold one of these 3D animations to 3nets, owned by consortium IMAX, Discovery and Sony. And now it's available in the Nintendo's App Store to be downloaded and viewed on its game player.
So you see, there's new market evolving. There's a lot more 3D gadgets. Like for example, you know, you have the LG 3D phone, you have the Sony with these 3D goggles. It's so cool that you can just wear it on with the earset and plug into a Blu-ray player. You don't even need a TV. So you see, there's all these new 3D gadgets that require 3D content, which give us a lot of additional revenue. Traditionally, you know, if the standard TV where you have the DVD market, which is badly affected by the pirated market, is almost dying. So all this new market is important for us.
But there are still some challenges facing the animation industry in Singapore, one of which is financing.
The animation industry companies also, because animation projects are really very expensive. You really got to blow, I mean, a couple of $1 million to actually do a good television series, right? And the challenge for a lot of what I call the wannabes is how do you convince somebody to kind of spend that money on you, right? You got to start by doing small projects. So a lot of companies, new companies, started by doing service projects for others. And you got to get to the point where, you know, you start showing off your skill and somebody recognizes you that you actually are quite good. And then you just have to go from there.
Sparky Animation says besides financing, the animation industry is also facing a shortage of talent, which could put Singapore at a disadvantage.
A good example is, let's say, if you tell them, you know, here we have a talent that enough for half of your series, maybe 26 episodes, and you tell them the other 26 you have to take it elsewhere to do it. They rather go to a country, they find a studio where they can give all the 52 episodes to the same company. Why? It's very logically, for economic sense, management, coordination, is far simple. So as a result, you need to have the talent pool, the resources to take on large scale as much as you can. So generally, in my experience, local and Singapore talent only can cover 30% of the resources. I mean, we don't have enough talent to cover 100%.
Although the animation industry is getting more competitive with growing numbers of production houses in India and China, Singapore's Media Development Authority believes it will all boil down to the quality of the animation.
There are a lot of companies, a lot of countries actually looking in that areas. It's not like, you know, I have a lot more animation channels. You have Cartoon Network, you have all those Nickelodeon, right, kids channels. So the challenge is that in terms of opportunities, I think it's growing, but it's not growing tremendously. The challenge is the competition is actually very, very strong. And from a Singapore perspective, our cost is actually not competitive in that sense. So we have to really compensate by really becoming better.
Meanwhile, Tiny Island Productions says the outlook for Asia's animation industry is becoming more exciting as more production is being outsourced from the US to Asia.
Developments in Hong Kong's capital and financial markets. Up next.